We're in Sefer Yeshua, Parak Beis, Pasuk Beis. Let's get into it immediately. And the main question that we're going to be dealing with over here is how did these spies get caught in Yericho? Last time we discussed at length why they went to Rachav, and now we're going to discuss why they got caught, how they got caught. Vayomer למלך, right over here. It was told to the king, Yericho, the king of Yericho, לאמר, saying, Hine Anoshim ba'u. Behold, there were people that came over here. Hine halayla מבני ישראל לחפור הארץ, the people who came lachpor, to be lachpor the land. What does this word lachpor mean? So the Metzudas learns that this word means l'regel v'lachapesh, to spy out the land, to search out. Just like when you search for something, al shem shemachapesh davar ma bekarka choifer ba. When you search for something in the ground, you dig. You dig for it. That's why the word lachpor is being used. It's as if they're like digging over here. V'yishlach melech Yericho Rachav Lamor. And then the king of Yericho sent to Rachav saying, Hotzii ha'anashim ha'ba'im elayich. Take out these people who came to you. These men that came to you, asher ba'u libeisach, who came to your house, ki lachbor es kol haaretz ba'u, because they came to spy out the entire land. So there are a lot of questions over here. First, we have to figure out exactly how they got caught, what they did, because seemingly they used all of their tactics not to get caught and to do it in a very secretive manner. So, what is the explanation over here? So, we have to come back to it. Furthermore, it was told to the king that people came. It doesn't say where they were. So, how did he exactly know how to go to Rachav's house? So, we'll have to see if we could figure out some answers over there. Okay, so let's go into it over here and try to figure out exactly how they get caught. No drag outs over here. Let's go straight to the cut to the chase over here. So the Malbim over here offers several beautiful explanations to this question of exactly how they got caught, what it was. And he says like this. He says that they were caught in one of three ways. Mitzad boam ha'ir shahaisa sogerus misogerus and yosevim ba. The city was completely closed off. No one was entering, no one was exiting over there. So from the fact that people came in, they said, "Oh wow, it must be that these are spies." Because remember, they knew that the Jews were close to coming in. So they therefore they were able to deduce from there that something unusual was happening. That's one answer. Second answer, sheyedu shemagmos mahalchem rak liyericho levad. They knew that they were gonna. The people of Yericho knew that the Jews were primarily aiming for the place of Yericho. That was a stronghold. Because if they were merchants, let's say they were merchants traveling from one place to another, then they would have slept by the gate of the city over there. The gates were closed. If they would have been actual merchants, not just spies disguised as merchants, they would have slept by the gate over there of the city so that they could head out immediately or head in immediately. That's where they would have slept. It seems like that's where the merchants slept. Reason number three is mimasha bo belayla shaloi kederech oivid derech hanichnosim bechito b'frat beis hasakana. Right? The Gemara in the beginning of Tzachim talks about lo kadam tzanos bechitoiv that a person should always travel when it's day, right? Especially back then, they didn't have electricity and it was dangerous at night, and especially in this situation, it was a dangerous time because they knew the Jews were close to there. So why are they coming in at night? Oh, they're coming in at night. Something must be going on, aka that they're not legit, that they're spies. Another interesting answer, Rav Chaim Kanievsky says in his Sefer Time Dekra on page Shin Kaf Ches that he actually quotes this Malbim. He calls him the Gon Malbim. Wonders that how were they not careful? Yeshua said, go charish quietly and told him the details, etc. So Chaim answers that this was min hashamayim kedei shal yedeza tinotzel rochav shahaisid ruli linotzel. That this was decreed from heaven that it would be orchestrated in this manner, in which that the spies would go in and their identity would be divulged, which would consequently cause a chain reaction of what? Of Rachav saving them, and therefore she herself would get saved. Perhaps a tweak within this answer is that this was done also in order to give her the merit of saving the spies, not just herself. Perhaps a tweak within this answer. Comes along the What do we have over here? No, let's go straight to the Meom Loaz now. The Meom Loaz is going to also provide several answers to this, and says that what? That even though that they did all the tactics that they could so that it wouldn't be informed and divulged that they were spies, nevertheless, since the people of Yericho knew that the Jews were prepared and getting ready to conquer the land, they were literally waiting and anticipating that moment, and they were paying attention very, very carefully. Very, very carefully. So therefore, what? They recognized that with all the tactics that they even with all the tactics that the spies did, that they were not legit. So he says like this, that they knew that they were Jewish. Why? The people of Yericho, because they were very weak. The morale, as we discussed 2 sessions ago, about exactly what they were spying out for. Either they were spying out to see the best way to enter into the land from a military perspective, or they were spying out the land in terms of to see the best, to see the morale mentally, psychologically, where the people of Yericho were exactly standing, where they were holding. From the idea from that is that they were very weak mentally and psychologically, emotionally, the people of Yericho, and therefore they weren't going to Rachav anymore. They weren't going to the prostitutes. We spoke out last time, they weren't even able to have an erection because they were so scared. So that's another answer, and that's how they knew that something fishy was going on, because it was like a ghost town over there by Rachav. Another answer is that usually when you have merchants coming in, they don't come in pairs, right? They don't do that. They come one person at a time. If anything, they're competition for one another. So from the fact that they came in pairs, therefore that was another giveaway of their identity. Another answer. Yet another answer is that they came at night. It's not the norm for people to come at night. You come during the day, similar to above. Also, their face had a radiance. This is another answer, a shine. So they knew that they were important people and that they were from Israel. Yeah. So this is the idea. Now, it didn't say that there were two spies in the house of Rachav. It said, right, the Pasuk said, if we go back, it said, Shnei Anashim, Hine Anashim Ba'u. There were people that came. It didn't call them spies. It says people that came, מבני Israel. So what's the significance behind calling them people? That Rachav was very important. She was considered like upper class. All the kings were with her, the higher officials, etc. So therefore, maybe she wouldn't find favor in the people's eyes who were accusing her, and especially if they were accusing her for no reason, and therefore she would take revenge against them. So therefore, they were very careful even on the way that they spoke with her, even when they accused her of such a thing, of that the spies were there. Furthermore, maybe they weren't in the house, they ran away, or they were being hidden, which in fact was the case, and therefore the king would punish them because they're slandering a upper class person, aka Rachav, for such a serious transgression, treason, almost over here, rebelling against the king, Mori b'malchus, for no reason. So therefore, they made sure to talk with her in a gentle way and nothing too severe. But on the other hand, they were obligated to tell the king, right? Because Yericho, if once someone conquers Yericho, they could conquer the rest of the land. Because that was basically the key, and that's where all the soldiers were for all the 7 nations. And therefore, they had to tell the king about this over here. So this is the basic idea of all the different ways or possibilities exactly of how they got caught. This is so you have many, many different answers. So just to recap them in order of all the different ways. Answer number one is the Malbim, the gates of the city, right? They would close the gates at night, perhaps, and therefore they knew it was them. Another reason is because Yericho, why were they only there, right? And why weren't they sleeping by the gates, right? Another reason is most people travel during the day. With Chaim Kanievsky, we saw that so that Rachav would end up getting saved, or so that she would have the merit of saving them. They were fearful. No one visited Rachav in general, so they knew it was them. They came in pairs, and that they had a radiance on their face. So those are eight potential answers to this question. Let's move on to the next pasuk. Next pasuk teaches us Vayishlach melech Yericho el Rachav laemar, that the kings of Yericho sent to Rachav saying, "Take out these people from your house. Hotzia anashim habaim, take out these people who are coming. Elayach to you, asher ba'u, that they came lebeisach to your house. Ki lachbor kol haaretz ba'u, because they came to spy out the land. Why does it say ba'u so many times? They came, they came, they came. Why does it say three times over here? Something interesting is going on. Rashi doesn't even comment on this pasuk. The Metzudas doesn't even comment on this pasuk. Radak doesn't really say much. So what's the explanation over here? Ralbag is out. He doesn't say nothing. The Malbim doesn't really have. Malbim has a little to say. He says like this. Oh no, that was on the last pasuk. Malbim doesn't really say much over here. He doesn't say much, but let's see. There's a beautiful Abarbanel. He sets something up very beautifully over here, and he says a very interesting explanation over here. He said, "Take the people out. They came to spy." The messengers of the king told her, take out the people who came over here. If they came to have relations with you, get them out. If they came to use your house as like a type of inn, a hotel, and a place where they could eat and sleep, get them out also. However they came, get them out. That's why it says haboim elecha. So when the pasuk over here says haboim elech, that's referring to that they came to you to have relations. And then when the pasuk says asher ba'u lebeisach shu levakesh achsanya, then when the pasuk says that they came to your house, that's referring for actual house usage. That's what that's referring to over there, meaning to use your house as an inn, hotel, or a place of food. Asher ba'u lebeisach shu levakesh achsanya v'amru ki lachbor kol haaretz ba'u, and they came for what? For the whole land, meaning they came to spy it out. So therefore, the people were saying to Rachav, "No, don't have mercy on them. We're gonna try to kill everyone over here. Don't have mercy on them." Comes the Meom Loaz and says that immediately the king sent messengers over there and command them, don't take them, don't forcefully, break the door down to get in Rachav's house. Speak with Rachav in a respectable manner. Remember, because she was an Isha Chashuva. She was considered an important woman, an upper class. Now, once she hid the spies, that is a serious sin and transgression from a political perspective. And therefore, if she would have been caught, they would have killed her because Mori b'malchus chayiv misa. Right? When you rebel against the king like that, and you commit a crime like that, which is potentially going to cause your entire city and land to be not only to get everyone killed, but taken over, that is a serious transgression. So therefore the king told the messengers, no, no, no. Speak with her in a respectable manner. Tell her, don't think that because that you are now hosting these spies, that, that whatever. He said, no, speak gently. Tell her that, no, no, no. We're not going to kill you for this. Just Just take them out. All we need is the people. They didn't really come here for what your services typically provide. They came as spies. And therefore, that's basically what they said, and it could cause a big damage. And that's the story over there with what happened with Rachav in a nutshell. I just want to take this opportunity to clarify. I looked into last time on the long one. If anyone did watch the whole thing, of why exactly the spies came to Rachav. So at the end of that, based on the Meom Loaz, the Meom Loaz didn't say that all of the relations that she did throughout the 40 years that she was involved with that, and when the Jews were in the Midbar, were all considered karka olam. He doesn't say it was considered passive. He doesn't say it was considered lishma for its own sake. But he does mention the idea that they came there, that she had in mind that the Jews would eventually come and that she would convert. But that doesn't mean that everything she necessarily did was l'shem shemaim. In fact, based on the Be'er Moshe's elaborate presentation, which we quoted on the first episode of this parak, the first year, so it's actually, in fact, pretty clear that it was considered that it was a lot of sins, and we learn out from there how a person could turn their whole life around. So I just wanted to clarify that point because I spent a good half an hour looking into that, and actually going back to the original shir that I gave on that many years ago, which is on rabbiblond.com on the Nach section, and I listened to that part and it was pretty clear that I kind of made that up, and it's very controversial. And when I typed it up now, I put it in parentheses and I underlined the word perhaps. This could be an explanation. It's an idea. It's not so simple over there. But anyways, that is the idea. That's this pasuk. And okay, so we're gonna stop here on this. No reason to drag it out more. This is the basic insight that we get from these pasuk from these two psukim as to why how they got caught.